often think of gods as protectors, benevolent beings who watch over humanity. But what if I told you that the Egyptian gods had a dark side, one filled with curses, betrayals, and terrifying secrets hidden in ancient texts? The dark side of Egyptian gods. Curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals that these deities weren't just worshipped, they were feared. They punished pharaohs, cursed tomb raiders, and demanded loyalty through blood and sacrifice. But here's the real question. Were they truly divine, or something far more sinister? For centuries, whispers of vengeful gods have echoed through the sands of time. Sekhmet, the lioness goddess, nearly wiped out humanity in a blood-soaked rampage. Osiris, the perfect king, was betrayed and torn apart by his own brother. And pharaohs who dared to defy the gods suffered fates so chilling that some believe supernatural forces were at play. The dark side of Egyptian gods. Curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets uncovers the eerie patterns that make one thing clear. No one, not even kings, could escape their wrath. But it doesn't stop there. The ancient Egyptians believed in a terrifying afterlife, where souls were judged, devoured, or condemned to eternal torment. Their underworld wasn't a peaceful resting place. It was a nightmare, filled with monstrous creatures, rivers of fire, and unspeakable horrors. Why did a civilization so advanced live in such fear of the next life? Did they know something we don't? And then, there are the stranger questions. What if these gods weren't gods at all? What if their strange depictions, half human, half animal beings, were not symbols, but evidence of something far more mysterious? Advanced knowledge, impossible architecture, and ancient carvings hint at a disturbing possibility. Were the gods of Egypt visitors from another world? And if so, have they ever really left? What you're about to hear will change the way you see ancient Egypt forever. This is not just mythology. This is a world of hidden truths, forbidden knowledge, and divine forces that shaped history itself. But be warned, the further we go, the darker it gets. Are you ready to uncover what was never meant to be found? The curse of the gods. Were they punishing humanity? We like to think of gods as protectors, but ancient Egyptians knew better. Their gods were powerful, unpredictable, and at times ruthless. Divine wrath wasn't just a concept, it was a terrifying reality. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals that deities like Ra and Anubis held the power of both creation and destruction. But were these punishments truly acts of justice or something more sinister? Some texts suggest that even the most faithful were not spared when the gods' fury was unleashed. One of the most chilling myths is the legend of Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of war. When humans defied Ra, he didn't simply scold them, he sent Sekhmet to wipe them off the face of the earth. She was unstoppable, turning rivers red with blood, her thirst for destruction insatiable. The people's only hope. A trick, filling the land with red-dyed beer, fooling her into drinking it until she passed out. But here's the unsettling part. What if she hadn't stopped? How close did humanity come to total annihilation? Then there were the plagues and famines, events so devastating they seemed almost supernatural. Ancient Egyptians believed these weren't just natural disasters, but divine punishments. When the Nile failed to flood, crops withered, and people starved, whispers spread that the gods were displeased. But why? Had someone angered them? Some even believed secret curses, hidden within temple walls, dictated who would suffer next. Could these be the origins of our modern fears about divine retribution? The pharaohs, despite their godlike status, were not immune to these punishments. Now, there are stories of rulers who crossed the gods and suffered mysterious fates. Some died young, others faced rebellions, as if their own people sensed the gods' displeasure. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets suggests that their downfall was no accident. Was it divine justice or something even darker? Perhaps a power struggle between gods and mortals? Even the temples held warnings. Priests carved inscriptions threatening those who disturbed sacred relics. Some of these warnings were eerily specific, predicting sickness, madness, even death. Were these merely psychological tricks to scare thieves, or did the gods truly curse those who defied them? The legend of the pharaoh's curse, especially those who dared to enter Tutankhamun's tomb, only deepens this mystery. Coincidence? Or proof that the gods' wrath endured even beyond the grave? These stories weren't just myths to the Egyptians, they shaped their entire civilization. The fear of divine punishment controlled laws, rituals, and even daily habits. People lived their lives in constant vigilance, hoping to avoid angering the unseen forces around them. But what if this fear wasn't just paranoia? What if, buried beneath the sands of history, there's evidence that these curses were real? And if so, what else have we misunderstood about these gods? The betrayal of Osiris, a murder that changed Egypt forever. Power, wisdom, and justice. Osiris was the king every ruler aspired to be. He brought prosperity to Egypt, teaching humans the secrets of agriculture, law, and civilization itself. But in a world where gods were not just worshipped but feared, being perfect made him a target. His own brother, Set, was watching Waiting. The dark side of Egyptian gods. Curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals how jealousy and ambition shattered the divine order, plunging Egypt into chaos. If gods could betray their own blood, what did that mean for humanity? Set was no ordinary enemy. He wasn't just envious. He wanted Osiris erased from existence. The legend says he tricked Osiris into laying inside a beautiful coffin, promising it as a gift to whoever fit inside. The moment Osiris lay down, Set slammed the lid shut and sealed it with molten lead. Imagine that. Betrayed, suffocating in darkness, all because of a brother's hatred. But Set wasn't satisfied. He took it a step further, hacking Osiris's body into pieces and scattering them across Egypt. Not just murder, obliteration. But gods do not die so easily. Isis, Osiris's devoted wife, refused to accept fate. Her grief turned into obsession. She scoured the land, finding every last piece of her husband's body, stitching him back together with forbidden magic. But there was one thing she could not restore: his life. In a desperate attempt to defy death itself, she performed a dark ritual, reviving Osiris just long enough to conceive their son, Horus. A child born not of love, but of revenge. And revenge would come. The story of Horus versus Set is one of the oldest recorded battles of good versus evil. But was it truly that simple? Set was a god of chaos, but also strength and resilience. Horus, the Avenger, was noble but ruthless. Their war spanned generations, a cosmic struggle that reflected the power struggles of Egypt's own rulers. Even today, history repeats itself. Brothers betray brothers, kingdoms rise and fall, and ambition often outweighs loyalty. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets proves that even divine beings were not above such conflicts. And what of Osiris? Though he never walked among the living again, his story did not end in tragedy. He became the ruler of the afterlife, presiding over the souls of the dead. In a way, Set's betrayal only made him more powerful, transforming him from a mere king into an eternal judge. But here's the real question. If betrayal could reshape the very order of the gods, what else was hidden beneath the surface of these ancient myths? Could their stories hold truths about human nature itself? Perhaps the gods were never as distant as we believe. Perhaps their struggles were simply reflections of our own. And if that's true, what other divine secrets have been lost to time? The pharaohs who challenged the gods and paid the price. To be a pharaoh was to walk the line between man and God. They ruled with divine authority, claiming to be the earthly embodiment of Horus. But what happened when a pharaoh defied the gods themselves? History whispers of rulers who dared to challenge the old ways, only to meet strange and untimely ends. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals how those who opposed divine order suffered fates worse than death. Were these just political failures, or did supernatural forces punish them for their defiance? Take Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh. He did the unthinkable. He rejected Egypt's traditional gods, shutting down temples, erasing their names, and demanding worship of only one deity, the sun god Aten. For a time, he ruled as if the old gods no longer existed. But his legacy was cursed. After his mysterious death, his name was chiseled out of history, his city abandoned, and his revolution erased. Did the priests and nobles strike back, or did the gods themselves ensure his memory was wiped from existence? Then there's the infamous curse of Tutankhamun. His tomb, sealed for over 3,000 years, held treasures beyond imagination. But those who disturbed it met eerie fates, sudden deaths, strange illnesses, bizarre accidents. Some dismissed it as coincidence, but others believed the warnings inscribed within the tomb. Death would come to those who dared to violate the sacred resting place of the pharaohs. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets asks, was this the wrath of the gods, or something even more chilling? But curses weren't just reserved for tomb raiders. Some pharaohs left hidden messages, warning future generations of the consequences of disobedience. Deep within temple walls, carvings depicted destruction for those who defied divine will. Some scholars believe these were just political threats, a way for rulers to maintain control. But what if they were more than that? What if the pharaohs themselves feared something lurking beyond this world, something that would strike down those who angered it? Even in modern times, the echoes of these warnings persist. Archaeologists and historians who study these ancient rulers report strange experiences, unexplained shadows, chilling whispers, equipment failing at critical moments. Science may dismiss it, but the legends remain. The Egyptians believed in the power of words, in the ability of a name to summon forces beyond comprehension. And if they were right, what other secrets are still hidden in the ruins of their civilization? One thing is certain, those who challenged the gods never escaped their fate. Whether through curses, conspiracies, or divine intervention, their legacies ended in tragedy. But if the gods truly held such power, then one terrifying question remains. What else did they control? The snake that could swallow the world. the chaos, god Apep. Every night, as the sun set over the horizon, the world held its breath. Deep in the underworld, an ancient battle raged, one that determined whether dawn would ever come again. At the heart of this eternal war was Apep, the colossal serpent of chaos, a being so powerful that even the gods feared him. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals that Apep wasn't just a myth. He represented something far more terrifying. He was the very embodiment of destruction, lurking beyond the veil of reality, waiting for his chance to consume everything. Apep was not a god. He was something older, something beyond divine order. While Ra, the sun god, carried the sun across the sky, Apep lay in wait beneath the earth, ready to strike. Every night, he attacked Ra's solar boat, trying to drag the sun into eternal darkness. And this wasn't just a symbolic struggle, it was a warning. To the ancient Egyptians, the world was always one disaster away from chaos. And when we look at history, plagues, wars, sudden collapses of civilizations, one has to wonder, was Apep just a legend, or was he something real? His presence was felt everywhere. Storms, earthquakes, eclipses. Anything that disrupted the natural order was seen as Apep's work. Priests held secret rituals to weaken him, chanting spells, burning effigies, even stabbing images of him to ensure he stayed trapped in the underworld. But despite their efforts, the fear remained. What if one night Ra lost the battle? What if the sun never rose again? The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets asks, were these just superstitions? Or did the Egyptians truly believe they were holding back the end of the world? And here's where things get even stranger. Some believe Apep wasn't just a metaphor, but a memory, an echo of something real. Could he have been inspired by ancient natural disasters like the violent floods or the sudden collapse of kingdoms? Or perhaps something even more terrifying, an event so catastrophic that it left a permanent scar in human consciousness? After all, many cultures speak of great serpents, cosmic battles, and forces that threaten existence itself. Could they all be remembering the same thing? Even the gods feared Apep. Unlike other villains in Egyptian mythology, he was never truly defeated. He was too vast, too ancient, too relentless. He always returned every night, striking from the shadows, reminding the world that destruction is never far away. His name was a whisper of dread, carved into temple walls and spoken only in fearful reverence. And if such an entity existed in their myths, what else did the Egyptians know that we don't? The idea of an all-consuming force isn't unique to Egypt. From the Norse Midgard serpent to the apocalyptic dragons of the East, humanity has always feared the arrival of a being that would swallow the world whole. But here's the real question. If Apep was merely a myth, why does his story feel so familiar? What if the ancient Egyptians weren't just telling stories? What if they were warning us? The dark side of the afterlife, the torments of Duat. Many imagine the afterlife as a place of peace, a paradise for the righteous. But in ancient Egypt, the journey beyond death was anything but gentle. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets reveals that the Egyptian underworld known as Duat was a nightmare realm filled with horrors beyond comprehension. The dead didn't simply pass on, they were tested, judged, and for the unworthy, condemned to an existence of eternal suffering. And the scariest part? No one was truly safe. At the heart of this terrifying journey was the weighing of the heart. Imagine standing before Osiris, the ruler of the dead, as he places your heart on a golden scale. On the other side, the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth. If your heart was heavy with sin, even by a fraction, your soul was doomed. No second chances, no redemption. Just the cold, merciless judgment of the gods. And if you failed, you wouldn't simply be punished, you would cease to exist. That's where Ammit, the devourer of souls, came in. A monstrous hybrid of a crocodile, lion, and hippo, she waited eagerly for those whose hearts tipped the scale. She didn't just kill them, she erased them. To ancient Egyptians, this was the ultimate horror. No afterlife, no rebirth, no memory left behind. Just nothing. In many ways, this fear of total annihilation mirrors modern existential dread. The terror of being forgotten, of vanishing without a trace. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets shows that even thousands of years ago, people wrestled with the same fears we do today. But for those who survived the judgment, the trials were far from over. Duat was no simple passageway. It was a labyrinth of nightmares. Demonic guardians, rivers of fire, flesh-eating serpents, and lakes of boiling water awaited the dead. Some texts describe souls being strangled by shadows, trapped in endless darkness, or forced to relive their worst memories for eternity. These weren't just punishments, they were warnings. A reminder that life's actions had consequences beyond the grave. The underworld wasn't just a place of suffering, it was also a battleground. The deceased had to defend themselves, recite spells, and pass through terrifying gateways, each guarded by monstrous beings with names too cursed to speak. Without the right knowledge, sacred incantations from the Book of the Dead, souls could become lost forever. Could this be why the Egyptians were so obsessed with the afterlife? Perhaps they weren't just preparing for death, they were desperately trying to escape something far worse. It makes you wonder, where did these ideas come from? Were they simply myths, or were they based on something real? Many ancient cultures describe hellish realms filled with torment, from the Greek Tartarus to the Hindu Naraka. Could these stories be distorted memories of something our ancestors actually experienced? If so, what terrifying truth lies buried beneath these ancient myths? Were these gods even from this world? For centuries, we viewed the Egyptian gods as mythological beings, products of an ancient civilization's imagination. But what if that assumption is wrong? The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets, explores a theory that shakes the very foundation of history. What if these gods weren't just divine but extraterrestrial? Strange hieroglyphs, impossible architecture, and advanced knowledge hint at a truth far more unsettling. Were these deities truly from the heavens, or from beyond the stars? Ancient Egyptian temples are filled with artwork depicting beings that don't look entirely human. Gods with elongated skulls, enormous eyes, and animal-like features ruled the land. Some say this is purely symbolic, but others argue that these depictions bear a striking resemblance to modern accounts of alien encounters. Could these gods have been something else entirely? Perhaps beings that arrived on Earth long before recorded history, influencing the rise of one of the most advanced civilizations of the ancient world? And then there's the impossible technology. The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns perfectly with true north, something incredibly difficult to achieve even today. The stones, some weighing over 70 tons, were moved with a precision that baffles engineers. How did an ancient society accomplish this without modern tools? Some researchers believe they had help from beings who possessed knowledge far beyond human capability. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets asks, were these gods truly worshipped, or were they obeyed as powerful overlords? Even stranger are the mysterious carvings and texts that suggest contact with something not of this earth. Some ancient records speak of flying boats and celestial beings descending from the sky. The Dendera light, an unusual depiction found in an Egyptian temple, looks eerily similar to modern electrical devices. Could this be evidence that the gods of Egypt weren't gods at all, but something science is only beginning to understand? If this theory holds any truth, it changes everything. It would mean that the stories of gods descending from the heavens weren't just religious metaphors, but historical records. What if the myths of divine beings granting knowledge to humans were actually accounts of extraterrestrial intervention? What if the construction of the pyramids, the sudden advancement in Egyptian knowledge, and even the rituals of the pharaohs were all part of something much, much bigger? And here's the most chilling thought. What if these gods never truly left? Some ancient rituals are still practiced today, some temples remain active, and strange phenomena continue to occur around Egypt's sacred sites. If the gods, or whatever they were, once ruled over humanity, could they still be watching us? And if they returned, would we even recognize them? So now you know, the Egyptian gods weren't just figures of worship. They were feared, unpredictable, and at times terrifying. The dark side of Egyptian gods, curses, betrayals, and hidden secrets has shown that these deities punished kings, unleashed plagues, and guarded their secrets with deadly consequences. But what if their influence didn't end with ancient Egypt? What if their presence lingers in ways we still don't understand? Think about it. Mysterious deaths tied to ancient curses, strange depictions in temples that defy explanation, and myths that seem to echo across civilizations. Were these just coincidences? Or is there a pattern hiding in plain sight? Could these gods have been more than mere myths? And if so, what else did the ancients know that we've long forgotten? Now, I want to hear from you. Were the Egyptian gods truly divine, or something far more sinister? Do you believe in the power of their curses, or are these just stories meant to keep us in fear? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is a mystery too big to explore alone. And if you love uncovering the hidden truths of ancient civilizations, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to uncover, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The past is darker than we've been told, and we're just getting started.